Hello, everybody, it's Tim here again to another movie review, this time for Hocus Pocus Part 2. Now, I wasn't sure if I was really going to do a review for this, because I'm sure there are some reviews out for it, but it's not really a horror film, but it's Halloween themed, and I thought, what the hell. Plus, it has a cult following, and I enjoyed the first movie. Now, just to go into this is, I'm grading my movies from 1 to 4 stars, and I'll just go ahead and say, this is not a 4-star movie, it is not a great movie. Overall, though, this is a good movie. It is a 3 out of 4 easily, just like what I would give the first one. The original Hocus Pocus was a total bomb in theaters, but has a big cult following from people like me who saw it on TV and stuff in the 90s. Overall, I think the first one is a good movie. I do not think it is a great movie or any kind of like classic movie. Maybe a classic of the 90s, but not really like a masterpiece movie or anything. It's just got like a big cult following for people like me who watched it all the time on Disney Channel and stuff like that in the 90s. But it is a good movie. It is a solid 3 out of 4. And it is a better movie than this one, which is also a 3 out of 4. Now let me just say, the reason it's better than this one mostly is because this film is mostly a repeat of what worked in the first one. But not in a bad way. It's mostly a repeat because you can only really do so much with this type of idea. Like basically the plot is you got these two girls and the witches get brought back because they light a black flame candle or whatever when they're doing like a witch ceremony where they're pretty much witches in training. They get brought back to life, and you got the whole original cast back, Sarah Jessica Parker, Bette Midler, and so on. And they're all back, and they do good in their roles. Bette Midler is probably the best here because she gets the most to do by the end when she gets like this emotional ending, because all through the movie she wants to do this big major witch spell that gives her like ultimate power, but she doesn't read the warning that takes away what you want, what you care about the most, and by the end it takes away your sisters. She gives this big like epic, emotional thing where she wants to be reunited with her sisters, so the girls read the book or whatever, the magic book that they end up getting. They end up getting it from the witches, and it becomes theirs by the end. They read it, and it sends her to her sisters to be with them in the afterlife, basically. And she's real happy and stuff like that, and laughing about it. And she accepts her fate and everything. She's happy just to be with her sisters, and that's how it ends. But there's also like a bonus scene after the credits or whatever that leaves it pretty much set up for a sequel. You got the opening of the movie that starts out in the past, where it's got like the witches as children. The girl who did like the Bette Midler impression of her character or whatever did a good job, and it shows how they got like pushed out of town or whatever, out of Salem. And at first I was kind of worried about this movie because I thought this was going to end up being one of those like really forced like message theme movies or whatever again from Hollywood, because you got like the evil religious reverend or whatever that tries to throw him out of there because the Winifred girl, Bette Midler's character, will not marry like this dude or whatever he's trying to force her to marry, and so he pretty much shuns them out of there or whatever. But they don't do that. They don't try to make like these characters victims or anything. They're still evil in this film just like they were in the original film, and really this opening is only here just to set up the idea of the spell of like supposed to give you like ultimate power or whatever, because we see how they get the spell book from this other like older witch woman or whatever, which I'll get to her in a second. And so it shows where they get the book and all that, and they start doing magic and everything. When they come back to life and all that, they pretty much just like it pretty much is a repeat of the fish out of water comedy of the first one, because now it's not the 90s anymore. It's even a newer decade in the future. So they're learning about the new decade and all that, and they're like going into this. They're going to the Walgreens, and they're like, the door opened for her. She must, because she's an all-powerful witch. I will see if it'll do the same for me. And she walks up, and the door opens. Yeah, there is some funny humor here still, fish out of water comedy. That's what this movie is. It is a pure Hocus Pocus 2 of doing what worked in the first one again, which you really only do so much with this. If they make a third one, though, they're going to have to change it up a bit, especially to do it do it sooner than what it took to get to the second one, because they won't be able to do like as many of the fish out of water jokes again unless they move them to like a different country or something. I don't know. But yeah, the main girls here or whatever in this movie, it's basically two girls with a third one who becomes like a main character over halfway through the movie. Got these two girls or whatever like practice magic and all that, and their other friend who we get like lip service to, like they don't hang out with her anymore because she's like going out with the popular dude and all that, and he's just really dumb, and they just don't want to be around him and everything because the popular crowd makes fun of him and all that. You just really lip service to it. It's a very thin like plot with the girls and the teen characters here. I will say the teen cast in the original like felt stronger than these girls. They have an interesting idea for them like being witches and all that, even though it is a bit predictable that the girl's going to end up with magical powers. Or not so much predictable, but it's a bit like, it's like Glitch, that they would end up going up against a good witch or whatever, that one of the characters just happens to be a witch, it's a little much. But it does kind of work, but at the same time, it kind of works because it's something different from the first one, but at the same time, though, they don't really like go into it about like they don't really delve into it deep enough, really. And basically, the theme of the movie is like these other three girls are going to be like the Sanderson sisters, like Bette Midler and them, like for the new generation, except they're good and not evil. And at the end of the movie, when they're walking off with the book, they're even kind of walking like them. So we get the idea these girls are gonna be like good witches. It almost feels like Disney's like putting this in here in case they do a third one. They might do like a spin-off show based on these chicks or something, like for Disney Plus. They also leave it open at the end for there to be a third one, because at the end of the movie, when the girls are walking off, you see like this bird, like phoenix type creature or whatever, like flying around above them, which is the same thing that the older witch who gave the Sanderson sisters the book in the beginning of the movie turned into. So they kind of leave it open for her to like show up in the third one to be like the main villain. I'm kind of getting the vibe that if she does show up in the third one to be like the main villain, if they do a third one, assuming this one does well, which I think it will, that they'll probably try to turn the Sanderson sisters into like anti-heroes. Like maybe they'll be torn between, they're definitely going to bring them back if they do a third one. They'll be torn between like helping out the evil witch or whatever, and then like maybe turning on her and helping out the girls, like some way to redeem them or something. That's what this felt like, a step in that direction, kind of, to where they're trying to give them a little bit more humanity and stuff like that, like Bette Midler's character and all that. Don't get me wrong, they still are the villains here. They are the villains, but I can see it going that direction for a third one, for them like turning to the good side by the end or something, and doing something noble to stop this evil, more powerful like witch that gave them the book and everything. I can see it going that direction. We get a cool musical number or whatever, just like the first one, where they sing like one way or another, pretty much. Really enjoyable. It was fun. The Billy Butcherson character comes back or whatever, played by Doug Jones, I believe, who played Abe Sapien, the fish dude in the Hellboy movies. He's good here as well as he was in the first one, but his character's not really needed. He doesn't really like do much of anything. Like, they pretty much spin the movie off on two plots. You got like this black dude who's like the magic shop owner, who the witches are using to like go out and collect stuff for the spell that they're going to use to get ultimate power. And they're just kind of off on their own adventure. Him and the Billy Butcherson character is, who he digs up as a zombie because he needs his head or whatever for the spell. And they like go off on their own adventure, like collecting the stuff and all that. And then you got the main girls or whatever, teen girls, who are being chased by the witches and all that, because they're also looking for the descendant of the Reverend who originally condemned them, I guess, to be exiled from the community and all that. But yeah, the Billy Butcherson thing and all that really doesn't go much of anywhere, so it makes the first film feel stronger because the characters are more of a, cohesive whole and they're together through the whole movie. They should have done that here, really. They could have. And the blonde, like, white girl, I think she was blonde or whatever, she doesn't really become like a part of the trio of the other two girls, doesn't become friends with them again until like over halfway through the movie. She should have either been like written out, or they should have just made all three of these characters sisters and just had them be like a good version of the Sanderson sisters by the end, to have a dynamic like that of good witches versus evil witches. That would have been smarter, I think, and more compact and cohesive in terms of the story they're trying to tell here. But yeah, overall, 3 out of 4. Good movie, almost as good as the first one. Not quite as strong because the first one felt fresher because it was number 1. But overall, though, this is a good sequel. It's easily a 3 out of 4 worth watching. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you again.